Steine können wir nicht aufhalten, aber bei jedem Steinschlag helfen. United Autoglas.
Yes! Alles gut bei dir? Ich habe gerade über 900 € von der Steuer zurückbekommen. Jetzt kann ich endlich nach Mallorca.
Du und Steuern?
Ja, null, aber ich habe das mit dieser Zaster-App gemacht. Da macht der Steuerberater alles für dich. Kein Papierkram oder so. Nur kurz Name, Adresse, Steuer-ID angeben, fertig.
Über 2 Millionen Nutzer lieben Zaster. Hol dir jetzt dein Steuergeld zurück.
Für alle, die Sport fühlen.
Baby, I get to it on time. Skateboard grind, they what's your sign? We can take off right now to the Astros. Heating up like a stove red, I know cold.
Hier gewinnen die Fans. Denn Live-Sport geht auch kostenlos. Das ist Join Sport. Jederzeit kostenlos streamen.
Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the fourth day of the waiting period and the second day of action here at the Defender GKA Kite-Surf World Cup on Sylt. There's a slight change of weather today. We finally got some good conditions upcoming for the next 3 days, actually, and competition is getting started right now with the women's division. As you can see, ladies on the screen here, we got Lena Richter and Annie Branton. These ladies will be battling it out, female and female, out on the water this morning. The heat has just begun, and we're excited to get the women's rounds underway. Little update on the conditions. We've had a slight change in wind direction since the last couple of days. It is now side onshore, coming from the south, and expected to turn throughout the day further and further westerly, which gets better and better. So, yeah, let's get ready and get it started. Here we go. Lena Richter coming up with her first trick attempt. Let's see what she's got for us for the first trick of the day here in Sylt. Loading it up, taking off, going for a nice big jump, 1 foot, nice and easy, keeping it calm and steady for the first trick, just to get some scores on the board. Again, these are the first ladies out on the water today. They've just got out, so there hasn't been much time for testing this morning as the wind has only just kicked in. So they're still getting a bit of a feel for the conditions out there. But yeah, I'm sure they're going to be putting on a little show for us this morning. For the round one. So next up we'll have Annie Branton for her next trick attempt. Here we can see her heading out towards the outside buoy of the competition area, looking like she's going to turn around. Each rider has 40 seconds to do their turn or their first trick. And then we'll be going on to the next rider. It's 1 trick per tack, and you have about 40 seconds to complete your trick attempt. There you can see Annie waving at the drone as it's following her out on the water. Big smile on her face, and I'm sure she's stoked to finally be out there, getting a taste of the conditions. It's been a bit of a waiting period the last couple of days. Here you can see some of the men athletes. We got Nick on the right, on the left, Finn Flugel on the Red Bull, Robbie James in the middle, and putting on a show soon to come from the males. So it looks like Annie just came off of a board there. Let's see if she still has a trick attempt, but I can see the scores just dropped in now for Lena's first jump with a 1 foot. It was a 2.83, so it's counting towards obviously her 3 tricks that will be scoring in total for this heat. Her top 3 tricks, depending on which families they're all in, will be counting towards her total score. All right, looks like Nina is up next, if I'm not mistaken. Annie just with a little back roll. So right now on camera, that is Lina Richter, the German athlete here on the water. Looking pretty powered. From what I can see out the window, one of the athletes, Lina, is on a foil kite, if I'm not mistaken, and Annie is riding a Harlem tube kite. But here we go, Lina taking off into the air, into her first back roll, catching a little bit of an extra lift there. Just a nice clean back roll with a slight quick grab. I think it's not what she was going for. She was looking like she was wanting to go for a 1 foot, but unfortunately just didn't have the time or the hang time to give her enough float to be able to catch the lift. There we can see Annie taking off into a straight jump, not quite getting the height she was looking for, but you can see her last trick came in for a 2.42, and Lina's last trick came in at 2.93. I love this drone angle. You can really see the smile on the girls' faces. That's Lina up in front right now on your screen, stoked to be on the water without waiting on the beach. All right. Looks like Lina's about to take off into the air. Let's see what she's going for a third trick attempt. Here we go, taking off. Oh, just not managing her pop. It looks like her foil caught some air, caught some ventilation on the foil, which caused her to fall. Time is ticking quickly here. As you can see, it's only 4.5 minutes are remaining. We just saw Annie over there also catch a bit of ventilation on her foil and unfortunately also fell. All right, as you can see in the background, Annie with a double back roll grab, unfortunately not sticking the landing. And next up will be Lina's turn. I can see they're taking their time, finding the gust upwind of the competition area. Here we go, Annie with the takeoff into the sky. Nice front roll grab, catching a nice little luff there. Nice clean landing, nice and smooth. That's definitely going to put another trick on the board for her. Again, they're looking for as many tricks as they can with the highest score possible to be able to get 3 tricks on the board and complete an awesome heat. So next up we have Annie here on the Harlem Kite, heading out to the outside of the competition area. No, she's still in with a jump grab into a nice down move, but just not sticking the landing, unfortunately, on that one. Looks like she was still inside the competition area. I can just see out the window. She's at the far end of the last buoy, so I think she's managed to stay in. But next up, we'll have Lina Richter taking off again, right on your screen, in pink. All right, taking to the skies, into another front roll, 1 foot. Is she going to stick the landing? Unfortunately, no. Just didn't have enough power in the kite to help her with that landing. At the moment, she's still in a very comfortable position with 3 tricks on the board, with a total of 8.66. All her 3 tricks were in the top range of the 2.9s, 2.8s, with Annie with only 1 trick on the board so far, with the 2.42. But again, it is her turn up next. She's still got a couple trick attempts that she can do in the next 2 minutes. Hopefully she's going to manage. Each athlete are getting 8 trick attempts with only 3 counting tricks during the women's round 1. We'll see how the day progresses. But here we go. Annie taking off. Nice front grab into a second back roll. Even managed to add a 1 foot in there, but unfortunately just didn't stick the landing again. Oh, man. Unfortunately, the last couple tricks that she's gone for just unfortunately didn't stick the landings. You almost think right now you kind of want to be a little bit more conservative, stick with what you know is consistent. Oh, out the back, Annie in the air again, but just didn't stick the landing. I think it wouldn't have counted anyways, as you're only allowed 1 trick per tack. And as you can see, Lena on the screen, she's looking up next for her next trick attempt with 1 minute remaining. Each of them have 40 seconds to complete their trick. You can see the drone in the video here. We're back on the drone angle. Next up, Lena taking off to the skies, finding that gust, just not getting the takeoff. Looking for that gust. Unfortunately, the wind's still side offshore, so it's still a little bit up and down. But there we go, taking off into a front roll board, 1 foot with a little board grab on the tail there. Manages to stick that landing. So sure she's going to be stoked on that one. Not the highest of jumps, unfortunately. I think she was looking for that gust, but just never found it. And Annie is up next with 20 seconds remaining, but unfortunately her kite is currently lying in the water. Not able to relaunch. I'm looking out the water. You can see that she's got a bit of a tangle up. Shame, it doesn't look like she's going to get her next trick attempt. So that means with 5 seconds on the clock, that is going to be the end of the first heat of round 1. Unfortunately for Annie, didn't manage to get the tricks that she wanted. Luckily, she'll have a second chance in the round 2. So she's not going home just yet. But Lena Richter will be taking the win for that first heat. She had some good tricks on the board. She kept it nice and conservative, nice and chilled. Made sure she stuck her landings. And at the end, took the win for that heat. The total scores just came in now. Total scores for Lena was a 6.6. And unfortunately for Annie Branton, a 2.42. But as you see, the next ladies on the water is Kalani Friedrich and Christelle Devry. Again, another female-to-female heat. This is the heat 2 of round 1. And looking forward to see what they're going to be putting on for us on the water. Transition period is 2 minutes between heats. So it's nice and quick. We are hoping to get as much done as possible today. It's looking like a very promising day on the forecast. We finally have some southerly going into westerly direction winds, which is great because it becomes much more stable. But as you can see on screen, they're still struggling to find those gusts. It is a bit cloudy this morning. It's expected to clear up a bit hopefully later in the day, which should make the wind a little bit more stable, which is looking like hopefully we'll have some awesome action throughout the day for this Hydrofoil big air event here on Sylt. So just waiting for the time to come on. Like I said, there's 2-minute transition time to allow the athletes to get out onto the water, get prepared, get a feel of the conditions. It's tight, but it's enough to just get an understanding of what it's like. Hopefully they pick the right kite size, but at least they're in heat 2, and they'll be able to judge with the previous ladies what they were on and seeing what they should take for their heat coming up now. Just looking out the window, it looks like we're going to have a heat filled with para kites, which are non-inflatable kites, which a lot of these athletes have decided to use, especially in the big air hydrofoil scene. It's got a lot of hang time, it's got a lot of lift. As you can see on screen now, you can see the 2 ladies with the para kites. These kites are slightly different to your traditional tube kites that you've probably seen the last couple years. These things work a lot like paragliders. They can really just shoot you up into the sky. It's got a lot of lift and a lot of hang time. And combined with the foil, you can really get a really upwind pop into the wind, which allows for a very floaty, lofty jump. There we go. There's the buzzer. The countdown will begin. There we go. 9 minutes, 55 seconds remaining on the clock. First up, we're going to have Kalani in pink on screen now, as you can see. Looks like she's going to go for possibly a toe side trick attempt. Oh, just pop the foil out the water there. Looks like they're still struggling to find a good gust and good wind. It is still slightly offshore. It's better than the first day that we had with the first round of men's. It's a lot cleaner winds. It's a lot less offshore. But here we go. Kalani taking off into the sky. Back roll, 1 foot into the second roll. Is she going to land it? She sticks it. She didn't have the longest of 1 foots there. You saw she quickly took it out and put it back in. So the judges will consider that. And obviously, if she tries that trick again and it performs it better, that will count towards a better scoring for that trick. So next up, Christelle, here we go. Taking off into the sky, front whirl, 1 foot, nice and extended, into a nice landing. Looks like she stuck it really well. As you could see, she did a single front roll compared to the double from Kalani, if I'm not mistaken. But she really extended that front foot out, which, let's see what the judges think of that. But here we go, on the replay, seeing her take off, nice extension of the leg, holding it out into a front roll, coming in with a clean landing, very lofty. Almost foil to foil, a little touchdown there. Next up, Kalani taking off again into a double back roll. Looks like she wanted to go for that 1 foot, but didn't quite stick it. So she'll be scoring a double back roll because she got a nice landing there. And look, the scores have come in for both those tricks. 5 points for Christelle for her single back roll with 1 foot. And if I'm not mistaken, Kalani's was a double back roll with a slight quick tap out with her back foot. All right, Christelle taking off again. Board off, front roll. Is she going to stick it? Unfortunately, just doesn't stick it. She got a 1 foot in the strap, but didn't complete that second foot in. And unfortunately, was coming in hot for the landing and just wasn't able to really get that second foot in for the landing. But next up, Kalani taking off into a back roll. Grabbed. Is she going to land it? She just doesn't land it. It looks like she was going for that 1 foot again. And unfortunately, just didn't manage to have the hang time to get her foot out in time. She is still sitting in the lead with 8.5 points on the board. Christelle's scores are still waiting to come in. I think her last trick was unfortunately a crash, and she didn't get her board back on the feet. But here we go. Let's see what Christelle's got for her third trick attempt for this morning in the round 1, heat 2 of the women's division. Looks like she's struggling to find a nice gust out there, or she's waiting out on that side of the competition area until she sees a gust coming. Could be her tactics, you know, because the closer you come into shore, especially going right foot forward like she is, she's probably wanting to get the cleanest of winds outside the back out there. But here we go, Christelle looking for that gust. As you can see, the competition area in the background, beautiful spot here in Sylt. And let's see, looks like she's looking back, ready to take off, taking off into a front roll board off, nice extension, got the feet back in the straps, and unfortunately misses the landing again. Shame, man, that was her fourth trick attempt and just not sticking the landing. Again, Kalani taking off, back roll, taking with the board off into the second rotation. Is she going to stick it? But unfortunately loses out on the win on the landing. If only she steered her kite a bit faster down, she might have been able to ride out of that one. But unfortunately, that's going to count as a crash for Kalani Frederick out there. As you can see, there are next athletes that are ready to hit the water, getting prepared and getting ready. It's tricky launches out on the beach here, where they are launching. It is slightly offshore. So it's a bit difficult to get a good takeoff or get a good launch. But here we go, Christelle on the outside of the competition area, waiting for that gust again. Looks like she's found her spot to take off so that she gets the cleanest of winds going right foot forward. Yeah, speeding up. How beautiful is that? all alone out on the water with one other person. Spot to herself almost. Here we go. Looks like she's caught a good gust going up. Let's see what she's got for us now. Again, front roll, double front roll into the third. Is she going to stick it? Unfortunately, doesn't make the landing. She was so close to it. Oh, man, if only she was a bit more conservative. Maybe went for the double with a more higher likely of landing it. She would have had another trick on the board and would have upped her total score. As only right now, both ladies have... Kalani only has 2 tricks on the board, and Christelle with only 1. They can have a total of 3, so they really need to start pushing at some landings now so they can add some tricks onto the board. Even if it's in the low 3s or the higher 2s, at least it's going to get more tricks on that board, which will count for their overall score. Here we go, Kalani taking off again into a front roll, grabbed. Nice and big, nice and lofty, but just not sticking the landing there. I think she didn't get the pop that she was looking for, unfortunately. I think she really wanted to try get a bit more height on there so she could go into the second one and maybe even a 1 foot. But next up, it will be Christelle. I really hope she can get another score on the board there. As you can see, looks like her tactics is really waiting for that gust on the outside of the competition area. She's right foot forward, so she wants the cleanest of wins. Here we go, right on screen now, Christelle looking for a takeoff, up into the sky, nicely inverted. Nice grab, but again, just not sticking the landing. Oh man, it's so unfortunate. She's only got 1 score on the board with only 2.5 minutes remaining. Again, anything can happen. Still time left, and there we go. Kalani up into the sky, double front roll. Is she going to stick it? And no, she does not. It does give Christelle hope. I think she's watching every trick that Kalani is doing just to make sure that she's not losing out too far behind. They're still quite close in scores. All they need is for Christelle to get a 3.5 to even 4, and she'll be taking up the lead. So again, next up, Christelle. Let's see what she's going to go for on the next trick attempt. From what it looks like on screen here, Kalani has already had her 8 trick attempts that she's able to do. Looks like she's already gone for all 8 of them. Here's a nice replay of the double back roll from Kalani, but just unfortunately, sticking the landing. I'm not sure if that's going to count because her 8 trick attempts have already been counted. And each rider gets a total of 8 trick attempts with 3 counting, which gives it to Christelle for her next trick attempt. Let's see what she's got for us here. Looking for that magic gust, hopefully. Let's see, taking off to the sky. Nice board or front roll. Come on, land it. And she does. That's going to... no. Unfortunately, I'm going to let the judges decide on that one, but to me it looks like that was a little bit of a crash. She didn't really ride out of it cleanly. We'll see what the judges say. She did have a nice landing, but unfortunately it didn't look like she rode out of it too well. But that's for the judges to decide. Here we go, Christelle again with her next trick attempt. Taking off, front roll, board off. Let's see if she's going to get her feet back in and land it. Man, shame. I can just imagine how frustrating it must be coming in for the landing and then just not getting it. So it looks like she got a 1.67 for that last the front roll board off. That is unfortunately the time up for this heat. Unfortunately, Christelle just didn't manage to catch her out in the end there, but Kalani will be taking the win with an 8.5 total heat score. Christelle will still have a second chance coming up soon in round 2 of the women's division. All right, so here you can see the ladder Right now, as you can see, in round 2, we got Annie that's advanced. Kalani will be coming up soon into that next heat. Just waiting for an update of the final scores of that last heat. Okay, another heat upcoming. Round 1, heat 3 of the women hydrofoil big air here on Sylt. Aya Kazabova and Karolina Mishnyuk. Hopefully I'm pronouncing their names right. And yeah, looking forward to see what these ladies are going to do on the water. Aya must be one of the youngest athletes here competing today. Looks like she's got a big smile on her face after that heat. So the competition hasn't started just yet. That is still the transition time, but it looks like she's just training, getting a feel of the conditions out there. Looks like she's on quite a big kite. It's 12 meter or so, so she's looking pretty powered. Wind's obviously still a little bit up and down, but obviously they want to keep their power out there when they're on their water. All right, so we're just waiting for the transition time to complete, and then we'll be getting underway with the Heat 3 of Round 1 of the Defender GKA Kite-Surf World Cup Women's Division here on Sylt. Just having a look at the forecast here. It's expected to be around 16 to 13 knots, 15 to 18, something like that throughout the day. So we should see some good action. And with it even picking up later in the afternoon. But anyways, the competition is on. We'll have Aya with the first trick attempt of this heat with 9.5 minutes remaining. Here we go, taking off into a front roll, 1 foot into the second rotation. Got a nice lift, but unfortunately, she actually came around nasty with that one. I think that's probably going to count, so she did end up riding out with it. She kind of landed on her foil, and then the kite just slowly brought her forward. So I'm pretty sure that's going to count as a trick attempt. Again, they'll have 8 trick attempts with 3 counting. They have to complete different families throughout the heat. Next up, we have Carolina in black. Looking like she wants to go for a left foot forward trick attempt. So here we go, taking off a nice big jump, even out of frame for the camera. Just not sticking the landing, but she definitely got some heights on that one. She caught a little gust, really took her up into the sky. Can see a little smile on her face there. Oh man, unfortunately just didn't stick the landing because definitely so far the highest jump of the heat. So we can see the scores come in for Aya on the last trick, which was a 4.33. And there we go, her second trick attempt. Nice front roll board off into the second rotation. Just slipped her last back foot out when it came to the landing. Here on screen, you got Carolina turning around, heading towards the beach, going to go right foot forward. Again, they have 40 seconds to complete their trick attempt until it goes into the next person's turn. Guys, I'd love to see your comments. I am keeping an eye on them in the comment box. So if you have any questions about the event, about the riders, about the spot, let us know in the comments. Happy to answer and get some feedback. Hope you're enjoying the live stream. Again, we've just begun today. It is 10:30 a.m. in the morning here in Germany. And we're just getting underway with the first round of the women's division. Heat 3 with Aya going against Carolina out on the water. Looks like some of the men are getting prepared, getting ready for their heats. Round 2 will be coming up after the first round 1 is complete. There we go. We just saw Carolina taking up to the skies with a straight jump. Looks like she managed to get a little grab. Not exactly probably what she was looking for. So next up we got Aya Kazabova. Aya Kazabova looking for her second trick, or third trick, sorry. Apparently there's another athlete going through the competition area. I think they're kind of waiting for them to get through. Must be mistaken that it's not their heat currently, but on screen we have Aya Kazabova from Bulgaria. Nice shot from the drone angle here. Looking for that gust further out the back. Looking like she means business. Here we go. Taking off into a front roll. Board off. Tic-tac. Is she going to get it? Is she going to stick it? And she does. Rides out of it cleanly. Probably going to be the highest scoring trick of today yet. We haven't seen one of those coming through. That was a solid trick there from Aya. Shame, she must be such a young athlete in the field today. Here's a nice replay. Here we go. Taking off. Going nicely high. Catching that little lift. Getting a tic-tac into the second rotation with a nice clean landing. Awesome from Aya Kazabova from Bulgaria. I can see the scores starting to come in from the judges. It's looking like it's going to be big. But again, on screen, Carolina taking off with a 1 foot. Is she going to stick the landing? And unfortunately just comes off axis onto the landing. There we go. There it is. 7.07 from Aya Kazabova. The highest trick score yet today. Again, it's only just begun, but that's definitely showing the judges what she's capable of. She's absolutely shredding it out there. Even though the conditions are still quite challenging, you can see the athletes falling around a bit when they're coming closer to the inside. The wind tends to be a little bit more gusty closer to the beach. We have moved the competition area further out back so that they have a little bit more stable conditions. And that's why you can see them often waiting out the back, waiting for that gust so that when they come in, they have very clean and stable wind for their takeoff. All right, so Aya Kazabova with 12.24 total heat score. Here we go, taking off again. Front roll board off, not going to stick the landing. Unfortunately, just got caught up in the air there and just was thrown a little bit backwards when she was coming down for the landing. But she is sitting in a comfortable place with a total heat score of 12.24 with one more trick attempt able to count for a total score. Where Carolina is only on 1.87 with one trick landed, which was just the back roll that she did. She really needs to now focus on keeping it chilled, keeping it conservative, landing nice and smooth on her trick so that she can just get some scores on the board. You know, all she needs is basically a couple fours and she'll be back into competing in this heat. Right now, it's clear that Aya Kazabova is dominating this heat with a total score of obviously 12.24 and a highest trick score of 7.707. Here you can see them having a look at their scores from their previous heat. I think that was Christelle checking out the competition results from that last heat. As you can see here, Carolina's kite is currently folded. She should get that fixed. Again, these are ram air kites. So basically you need air to fill these cells in all the kites. It works very similar to a paraglider. you can see all the little pockets, all those little cells are what basically inflates this kite. So if you leave it on the water too long, if it does crash, it can get quite tricky to relaunch because there is a possibility that they could fill up with water. But usually, ooh, that's not looking great. But she should be able to relaunch. It's filled with air and it still keeps its pressure. As long as she can get it up within a couple minutes, luckily the water's still flat, she should be able to give it a relaunch. But with 1.5 minutes left, and I think Aya Kazabova's turn, let's see what she's going to give for us on her next attempt. Here we go, taking off into a nice front roll board off, into the second rotation. Just not quite sticking the landing cleanly there. I have a feeling that was outside the competition area. With 53 seconds remaining. All right, so let's see the replay from Aya's last trick. Here, taking off. 1 foot into the second rotation. Is she going to stick it? She does stick it nicely. Nice and clean. It's probably going to count towards her third trick attempt. Third scoring trick, I'm sorry. So with 20 seconds remaining, is Carolina going to be able to get another score on the board? Should really have to do something big now to get back into the contending position to win this heat. And there it is. There's the buzzer. That is the end of the heat, with Aya Kazabova taking the win with a total score of 12.24. Let's have a look at some of the tricks from this last heat. Yeah, you can see Aya Kazabova taking off, going for a nice front roll 1 foot into that second rotation. You can see how she got that loft, but just managed to stick the landing. And there, Carolina taking off with that big jump, managing to also stick the landing. That was her 1.87 that she did. And this was that big one, that big lofty back roll, front roll tic-tac that scored a total of 7.07 for Aya. And then that last one she just went for now, that 1 foot into the second rotation. So double front roll, 1 footer. Awesome tricks there from the ladies. And next in heat 4, we have Ola Markowska and Andrea Zust. All right, so let's check out the beach and the interview from down on the water.
So I'm the current world champion at the moment, but for the past few months I've been working as a doctor in an emergency department. So I've been working a lot of different shifts, which also means I had a lot less water time than preparing for the last event. So I guess this year it's a little bit difficult for me to judge because we have a lot of new girls also from the U16 categories even joining us. I have no idea how their foiling skills are. We also have the same contenders as last year. So Christelle, for example, she was vice world champion in Abu Dhabi. She has a good level, especially also in light wind. My strength is strong wind if it's gusty. Yeah, so I'm hoping for these conditions. Let's see.
Alrighty, as you heard there from Andrea, she's coming from Switzerland and she's used to those strong gusty conditions out on the lake. So let's see what she's going to put on for us here. Unfortunately, it's not that strong, so we're going to see her light wind skills coming to play today against Ola from the Netherlands. So we're just waiting for that time to come on to competition time. It's still transition period, but the buzzer should be going off any second now. So from what it looks like in this heat, we'll have one person on a tube kite, a traditional inflatable kite, and one person on the Ram Air foil kite. So we'll see the difference between the two, and we'll be able to see how they both have their pros and cons in these type of conditions. And there it is, the buzzer is on. 10 minutes for these ladies to put on their best performance to be able to advance through to the next round. And there we go. Andrea taking off with a back roll board off, but just not sticking the landing. Didn't quite get the height that she was looking for on that one, it seems. Alrighty, so next up, we will be having Ola, if I'm not mistaken, who seems to be, oh, there we go. Andrea Zust again taking off. Fortunately missing the landing. I think they're out of sync of the times of who should be jumping when. Just trying to have a look here. It looks like this person on screen right now is not a competitor in this heat. Looks like he's from the male division, if I'm not mistaken. I don't see Ola in the competition area. Looks like she is not currently in the competition area. Let me have another look out the window. But anyways, on screen right now, Andrea looking for a takeoff. Right foot forward. Just not finding the gust she was needing. Just going to turn around, head back out, and give it another attempt on the way back in, probably. So unfortunately, it doesn't look like Ola's managed to get onto the water in time for a heat. She still has 8 minutes remaining, but currently it's right now a heat all to Andrea herself. So she basically just needs to get 1 point on the board, and she'll be able to take the win, as long as Ola doesn't make it out. But let's hope that Ola makes it back out and puts on a competition here for Andrea. At the end of the day, all these riders want to push themselves and better themselves every time they compete, and that's the best way to do it. Andrea taking off with a back roll, keeping it clean, keeping it smooth, almost landing back onto the foil, but that's definitely going to count as a landing. Again, all she needs is one trick on the board right now, and she'll be able to take the win as long as Ola doesn't make it back out to the competition area. But in her sake, let's really hope that she makes it out in time. She's still got 7 minutes remaining. That is still a lot of time to be able to get out the back. And looking forward to hopefully putting on a competition for Andrea. I think on screen now that looks like Ola, if I'm not mistaken, with a pink rashi and the pink helmet. But anyways, on screen, Andrea with currently sitting with a 2.5, going up into the air now with a back roll 1 foot, and sticks the landing nice and clean. Very nice and clean from Andrea there, just getting scores onto the board. Making sure she's ticking away the boxes, showing the judges that she's got the landings. And yeah, let's hope that Ola manages to make it out. She's got 6.5 minutes remaining. Unfortunately, looks like she's turning around. She might be having some technical difficulties with her kite. Not exactly sure what's happened. Trying to have a look out the window, but yeah, it doesn't look like she's managing to get out there. From what I see now, massive jump from Andrea. Nice clean landing. That's definitely going to put some scores on the board. Here's a nice replay. Yeah, you can see her taking off, finding that gust, taking off. Nice big board off, gets her both feet out into a nice clean landing and riding away smoothly. That's exactly what the judges are looking for. They want to see consistency, they want to see variety, they want to see extremity. And even though the conditions aren't that extreme right now, they can still judge by what they're doing and what they're doing out there and what kind of show they're putting on. And really just right now, Andrea is showing that she's dominating this heat with the total score coming in 4.93 for a back roll board off. Nice and fast, Andrea Zus taking off again. Into the sky, back roll board off, maybe a second rotation. No, but just getting the height. She did just to complete that trick. And unfortunately, that's Ola on the beach. Unfortunately, with 5 minutes remaining, she really needs to speed up and get on the water. Looks like she's having some technical difficulties. Possibly a kite flew away because I see a kite out on the back on the water safety. Looks like they're trying to rescue a kite out there. But now, right now on screen again, Andrea Zust. Taking off into the air, nice and high. Just a straight jump, board off, nice and clean. Nice landing. This is basically her training for her next rounds to come. Getting her gear dialed in with the wind, getting dialed in with the conditions out there. Like I said, it's still a little bit up and down. It's still a bit gusty. It's supposed to start shifting throughout the day towards a better direction. And so let's hope that, later through the day we get even better and stronger conditions for the heats to advance in really epic conditions. Okay, here we can see Andrea going for her 8th trick attempt. This will be her last trick attempt, taking off inverted front roll. Will she stick it? And she does, rides out of it. Looks like she almost wanted to go in for the second rotation, but realized she didn't have enough height. But here we can see on the replay, Andrea Zust from Switzerland taking off inverted front roll, getting the foil completely above her, and coming in smoothly for the landing. I don't think that's going to go into a higher scoring trick, so she's already got a couple on the board. But with 12.50, it's definitely a good starting point for the next couple rounds to come. As you can see there, she's on a 12-meter Harlem kite. She's on an inflatable, just unlike all the other riders or athletes on the water that are preferring to choose these parakites, let's say. These are non-inflatable kites. There you can see Lorenzo Casati busy setting up his bar, his lines, getting ready for later during the day. When it comes to him on the water, he's an absolute weapon, multiple champion from all over the world, coming from Italy. You can see Andrea coming in. Even though there's 2 minutes remaining, she's already completed all 8 of her tricks. And out of the 8, she's only crashed 2. So she's been really consistent this heat. Her total scores for her last 6 counting tricks was a 2.5 for a back roll, 3.7 for a back roll board off, 4.93 for another back roll board off, and then a 5.3 for a back roll board off, which was even bigger. And then her last straight air board off was a 3.5. So she's sitting with some good tricks on the board. It's definitely going to keep her going into the next rounds. As you can see, only with 1.5 minutes remaining. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like Ola will be getting back onto the water. Just having another quick look out the window. And yeah, it looks like Ola is not able to get back out there. Still a minute remaining. Anything can change. But she's got a smile on her face. Andrea is happy. She's landed her tricks. Happy with her results. Excited to be advancing. So now let's have a quick look at her tricks from this last heat. Here we go. Some highlights. Taking off into that back roll that she did. Nice, straight and clean, with a smooth landing. Just to start off her heat was a really good way to just show the judges that she's got this. Then her next trick was a back roll 1 foot, where she also came in nice and clean, almost foil to foil with a little touchdown there in the end, just trying to find that power in the kite. And then, yeah, this one, back roll board off, which was really nice and easy, big and smooth. And then that last trick that she did there with a straight air board off. Those were 3 counting tricks towards her total heat score. So unfortunately for Ola on that one, she was just not able to get onto the water. There goes the buzzer, back into transition period. And next up will be into the round 2 of the men's division out here on the water. Alrighty, let's have a look at the brackets for the men's division. Round 2, it's a big heat with 5 individuals in the water. Yoni, Nicholas, Lasse, Joppe, and Leo all battling it out there. It's going to be a big heat, very intense. Only 2 will be advancing into the next round. So we'll hope for some amazing action from the boys out there on the water. With probably a minute remaining until the start. Getting very excited for the men's to get back underway. As we've had a bit of a lay day yesterday, the men weren't able to run, even though we managed to complete round 1 2 days ago with not so optimal conditions. It was a little bit offshore, very gusty, and yeah, hopefully today they'll be able to put on a better show with more suitable conditions. Looks like a couple of the guys are already out there on the water, getting ready. Here we can see Nicholas on the read-in, just feeling the wind out there. It's nice to see again a fellow South African on the water. I myself have been living in South Africa for the last 2 years, but originally been living in Mauritius. For those that don't know, I have taken over the job for this event from Liam and Joe. My name is Willow River Tonkin, also been a professional kiter for the last 12 years, and I'll be commentating this heat for the boys there out on the water. We got some nice young talent in this heat. It's looking very exciting. Really keen to see how it unfolds in front of us today. And there goes the buzzer. The heat is on. Looks like first up we'll have Yoni Sorola. Each rider will have 40 seconds to complete their trick during their turn. Right foot forward, here comes Yoni. On the fly surfer, looking for that gust. And here we go, first trick of this round 2. Into a front roll, 1 foot. Into the second rotation, will he stick it? Whoa, caught a bit of a gust and unfortunately didn't make the landing. Looks like he got a bit of a lift and didn't quite get the takeoff he was looking for. His back foot looked like it kind of more slipped out of the foot strap than intentionally took it out. But up next, Nicholas 4 from South Africa on the read-in. Here we go, taking off into the skies, inverted front roll. Let's see if he's going to stick the landing nice and clean. Not the biggest of tricks, but it's definitely going to put a first score on the board for him. In this round, they'll be having 7 tricks scoring, with a 2.37 for Nicholas 4 for his first trick attempt. Next up, Lasse Geisler, fellow core team rider, taking off into the skies. Back roll, board off rodeo, second rotation. Well, oh, caught a little gust. Does he stick it? Unfortunately, just messes the landing. Oh man, on that down loop, you could see the kite really picked him up once more time. That's what's amazing about these foil kites. You know, when you down loop it, it really gives you that second lift, that second loft that, you know, all these guys are looking for a nice clean landing. On screen there is Joppe van der Poel from the Netherlands with 25 seconds remaining. Riding for Haarlem, but also chose to ride a foil kite for this heat since it is still quite light. 10 seconds to perform his first trick. Will he make it in time? 5 seconds left. Really needs to take off now. And looks like he managed. Back roll board off, second rotation. Sticks the landing. Nice and clean. Just in time there. He was playing it quite fine there in the end. We'll see if he managed to do it in time or not. We'll let the judges decide on that. But looks to me that he managed to get it just in time on the takeoff. As long as they take off within the time, it will still count. And then Leo Henriksen up next with 16 seconds remaining for his next trick attempt. Seven seconds left. Looks like we are still trying to find him. But anyways, the scores have come through from Joppe van der Poel. Highest scoring trick yet. A 4.83 for that back roll board off. 4.83 for that back roll board off. Solid trick. And it looks like Leo Henriksen also had a good one, which we just managed to unfortunately miss with a 6.6 for his front roll board off. Here we go, taking to the sky. Joni with a big double triple, 4 times, 5 times front roll board off. That was absolutely massive. Managed to stick the landing nice and clean. Let's watch a replay. Here we go. Taking off. Taking his board off while it's inverted into the first rotation. There we go. Second, third, and fourth. Even possibly a fifth. I'm getting dizzy myself just watching him. But yeah, that was an absolutely massive trick from Joni Sarola. We'll see what the judges give that one. It was looked like some nice hang time. I'm not exactly sure on the height. And again, Nicholas Fourie coming up next. Big boy from South Africa. First international event, international competition, and first time in Germany. Let's see what he's got for us here. Second trick attempt, taking off into the skies. Double back roll. Just keeping it nice and chilled, getting scores on the board. Looks like his strategy is really just getting a consistent amount of tricks on the board. And then later on in the heat, we'll see him putting it a bit more on the line to make sure that he can stay up there in the top 2 to advance through. Everyone's got a different tactics when it comes to competitions. Some people like to go hot, all out in the beginning, go as big as possible, and then keep it conservative towards the end. And then some people like Nicholas Fourie, who we just saw now, is just keeping it consistent, keeping it textbook style, making sure that he's getting all his landings. Their scores come in at 2.37. And Joni Sarola's last trick, that couple front roll board off, was a 7.07. Next up, Lasse Geisler. Coming towards us on screen right now. Fellow core rider. Here we go. Looking for that gust. Taking off into the skies right now. Back roll, board off, rodeo. Second rotation. Magic gust, keeping him nice and lofty. Sticking it well and clean. Definitely going to be happy with that one for his second trick attempt. Nice and easy, nice and clean. Looks like he still managed to get some good height as well on that one. Dutch rider Joppe van der Poel trying to get a bit of wind out there. You can see him just outside the competition box. Looks like he's wanting to go right foot forward, coming towards the beach. Maybe he's going to go for a takeoff toe-side, but saying hello to the drone there following him. Nice big smile on this young kid's face. Had a couple conversations with him the last couple days, and he's been just super friendly. Had a little bit of an expression session yesterday, put on a show for the crowd, but here we go, 16 seconds remaining. Looking for that gust towards the edge of the competition zone. And here we go, taking off front roll. Board off, but just losing it. It's hanging upside down. What a shame. He just didn't manage to grab it in time. He had some nice lofty hang time there. Would have definitely been a good score for him. But unfortunately, just losing the board is definitely going to be counting as a crash. We can see Lasse Geisler's last trick attempt, the 5.33 for his back row rodeo board off. Not too bad for his first trick on the board. Still anyone's game right now. It's still early in the heat. This will be Leo Henriksen's second trick attempt. Oh, just caught some ventilation on his foil there. Two seconds remaining, and unfortunately not going to be counting for his next trick. I think he just realized now. Front roll board off, front roll 1 foot, but unfortunately that was outside his designated time that he got to do for his trick. Anyways, let's see what Yoni's got for us right now. He's got 30 seconds remaining. We saw a massive trick from him for that last 5 times front roll board off, 7.07. Let's see what he's going to give us for his next third trick attempt. Looking for that gust with 8 seconds on the board. 5. There we go. Taking off into the skies. Front roll, grab 1 foot into the second and third rotation, but just not sticking the landing. Didn't look as smooth and as comfortable as the last one. I think the judges will take that into consideration if he had to land that. The last one was really controlled, really smooth, and that's also something judges are looking for. You know, they want to see that you have everything under control when you're out on the water. They want to see the smoothness. But there we go on screen. Nicholas 4, front roll board off. Is he going to get his foot in? And no, he did not. His back foot just didn't get into the strap. Seems like now he's, you can see he's a bit irritated with that last one. Looks like now he's ready trying to start pushing the envelope a little bit more and more. Trying to get some higher tricks on the board. Okay, Lasse Geisler, one of the youngest competitors here at the event. Looking pretty powered, coming full speed towards the beach. Here we go. Taking off into the sky, back roll, board off, tic-tac. Will he manage to land it? Catching a nice gust. And he sticks the landing nice and clean. It's definitely going to be a good score for him. Again, keeping it controlled. He has a nice replay. Let's go. Back roll, board off, tic-tac. Manages to get his front foot and then his back foot in and gets the landing. Came in quite hot for that landing, but he managed to keep it under control. Managed to stick it, which is great. Again, in lighter conditions like this, you know, technically it's these guys are trying to go as high as possible, but a lot of the time it's also about the air style. It's not only just about big air, it's also about what they can do in the lighter conditions. You know, if you had to go out now on a twin tip, you would barely be able to ride, but the advantage of having a hydrofoil is that you can really, you know, fly and use the foil to fly in lighter conditions, which allows you to obviously have a competition like this, you know, in lighter conditions. But it looks like the scores are coming in massive for Lasse Geisler's last trick attempt. There it is on screen, 7.90, highest scoring trick. But will Joppe be able to take it from him? Massive, massive front row boarder from Joppe van der Poel. Let's see if he's going to be able to take that away from Lasse Geisler there. But currently Lasse is sitting in first place. That was an absolute massive back roll tic-tac from him that we saw earlier during his third trick attempt. 7.90. He definitely had a lot of height towards it. Welcome everyone that are joining in on the comments. It's nice to see some people joining in. Leave your comments below. If you have any questions about the event, about the riders, the athletes, the conditions, let me know. I'd love to give some feedback, and it's great having you watching the show with me. But here we go, Leo Henriksen taking off, front row board off into the second rotation, third rotation, but he's not going to have the landing. Just got caught up a little bit on that third rotation. Didn't quite get the board on his feet in time. So unfortunately, that's going to count as a crash for Leo. And up on screen again, we're going to have Yoni. Let's see what he's going to go for in the next one. We saw a big first trick on the board for him. Let's see what he's going to do on this next one here. Here we go, taking off into a front roll, board off, 1 foot, into the second rotation, third rotation, and sticks the landing. So not quite a board off, just a 1 foot, but manages to keep it a little bit more controlled and a little bit more of a smoother landing on that one. So definitely get him a second trick on the board. Currently we're sitting with Lasse in first, Joppe van der Poel in second. Yoni is currently in third, but that could change with his next trick that he just landed. Leo in fourth, and Nicholas Fourie, who is coming up next for his next trick attempt, in fifth place. As you can see here on this angle, you can really see the size of Nicholas. Coming from Cape Town, South Africa, you know, he's really one for strong wind, big air, big kickers. And, you know, coming here to Germany, especially in conditions like we have today, 15 to 18 knots, it's definitely not something that he's used to. But again, that's competition. You have to put on your best performance in whatever the conditions have to provide. And we'll see what he's got for us now with 10 seconds remaining for his trick attempt. Taking off into the sky. Back roll 1 foot. Second rotation. Manages to just keep the landing, I think. Might count as a little bit of a butt check. But he did manage to ride out in the end. So not going to be the highest of tricks, but it'll be a third scoring trick for him. So here we go, Lasse Geisler coming towards the beach full speed again, right foot forward. Taking off, going up into the sky. Front roll 1 foot. Is he going to manage a second rotation? Foil to foil almost. Looks like he tried to loop it early to get that forward momentum that he could land foil to foil. Let's watch a replay of that. Here we go, taking off. Looks like he went for that 1 footer. Thought maybe he could get that second rotation, but decided to rather go for the foil to foil. But just managed to tap down there and land nice and clean. It's definitely going to be a third scoring trick on the board for him. Not the highest of scores, but it's going to keep him probably in first place at the moment. All depends on what Joppe van der Poel is going to show us in the next trick. With 14 seconds remaining, you better start turning now. All right, 4 seconds, 3 seconds. It looks like he's not going to manage. And that is it. Time's up for that trick attempt, unfortunately. So this trick that he goes for now, unfortunately, will not count. So in his sake, I hope it's a crash. Shame, exactly. There we go. So luckily, that won't count towards his trick anyways, because it was out of the designated time that he had. But up next, we got Leo Henriksen. Coming right foot forward towards the beach. Currently sitting in fifth place. Taking off into the skies. Front roll board off. Second rotation. Will he stick the landing? And yes, he does. Nice and clean. Nice and controlled. Not the biggest of tricks, but I saw he had a little fist bump there. I think he'll be happy that he's got another score on the board. That was everyone's fourth trick attempt, and they still have 3 more to go. Look at the ladies on the beach smiling for the camera. They definitely got some stoke on them. It's not too cold at the moment. Rain is forecasted for the weekend, but that won't stop these athletes from getting on the water. Here we go, Joni Sarola. Coming from Finland. Let's see what he's got for us right now. Here we go, taking off into the sky. Back roll, board off, nicely inverted. Second rotation, will he stick the landing? Nice and clean. He really came down so softly on that one. Looks like he just managed to get the kite in the right place. Let's watch the replay of that one so you can see as he takes off, he really tries to get the board. Here we go. Up and over his head. Flips it completely. Manages to get his feet back in on the second rotation and then comes down nice and smooth. Textbook style from Yoni right there. Judges are definitely going to give that one a good one for the control that he had in the air. Nicholas Ford taking off now. Front roll. Board off. Will he get it back on? Please get it on. And unfortunately just goes down again with the crash. I can hear that. I can see from here that he's not so happy with that one. That was his 5th trick attempt. And unfortunately, no landing. Lasse currently sitting with some big scores on the board with a total of 17.13 points. First place, and let's see what he's got here. On screen, Lasse upside down, taking to the skies. Landing, unfortunately, no landing. It looked like he was about to get it nice and clean. Just didn't manage to stick it on that one. So next up, Joppe van der Poel with 8 seconds left. Doesn't look like he's going to have enough time once again to do his trick. Yeah, unfortunately, that's time up from Joppe. It's his second one that he's unfortunately missed. Second chance to obviously put a score on the board. Currently sitting in 3rd with Leo Henriksen on screen now. Leo Henriksen taking off 1 foot. Double back roll, triple back roll. And unfortunately, just missing the landing. Shame, man. Unfortunately, with only 1 trick so far on the board, even though it's a high scoring trick up in the high 6s, it's still not going to push him enough in front to be able to advance through to the next round. Like I mentioned earlier, only 2 people will be advancing from this heat into round 3. And currently sitting in 1st and 2nd place is Lasse and Yoni. But anything can change as there's still 2 trick attempts left. But on screen right now, Yoni Sorola. Let's see what he's got for us. With 9 seconds remaining, he better jump soon so they can count towards his total scores. And unfortunately, again, looks like his time is up. Even though he managed to get some nice height on that one. Fortunately, it was a crash too, but anyways, it wouldn't have counted since it was outside of his designated time. Nicholas Ford taking off. Just not getting the kicker that he wanted or the gust that he was looking for. Shame, man. Unfortunately, just not getting the height that he needed for performing that trick. He's only got 1 trick attempt remaining. So let's see, current heat leader, Lasse Geisler, on the water on screen right now. Here we go, taking off into the sky. Front roll 1 foot into the second rotation and just not sticks the landing. Unfortunately, just not sticking the landing on that one. He'll have 1 more attempt before the end of this heat. Looks like that is the ladies preparing for round 2. Joppe on the screen. Joppe van der Poel taking off. 1 foot front roll, double front roll. Will he stick it? And unfortunately, that's going to be quite a butt check. We'll have to see what the judges say on that one. Here we go. Leo Henriksen on screen right now. Taking off into a back roll, 1 foot. Double back roll, triple. And unfortunately, just doesn't stick the landing once again. So Joni Sorola sitting in second place right behind Lasse Geisler with such few points between the two. This will be their last trick attempt for this heat. Lasse currently sitting in first. Joni just behind him, only needing 0.1 to advance into first place. Right now, these are the two contenders for going through to the next round. Round 3, in fact. But unfortunately, their time is not up. They got to keep going because it could still be anyone's game. If there's a big trick on the board, everyone's got 1 trick attempt left. But here we go, Joni taking off to the sky. 1 foot, 1 hand, and landing it nice and clean. I don't think that's what he was going for, but anyways, he got up into the sky for his last trick attempt. Managed to stick the landing. It shouldn't replace any of his current scores, as he's got quite some big scores on the board. Remember, the judges are scoring out of 10. So he's got a 7 on the board, which is obviously quite high. And then a 5.3 and a 4.67. So come on, Nicholas, let's see what he's got for us now. He has to go big. It's his final attempt. Currently sitting in 5th place in this heat. He's really going to have to put on something big to get up into contending. Here we go, board off. Whoa, almost wanted to tic-tac the foil there. His kite's going down with him. And unfortunately, obviously going to count as a crash. That was his last trick attempt. So unfortunately, it's going to keep him in the position that he's in. But well done for coming out. And here we go, Lasse on screen. Back roll, 1 foot. Will he land it? Losing it. Oh, and just misses the landing and almost lands on Nicholas. Nicholas had some trouble launching his kite there, as we could see. But anyways, Lasse is still sitting in first place with Joni straight behind him. So the only chance now is for Joppe. All he needs is a 4.64 to advance into first place. So everything's on the line for him and Leo right now. They don't need anything big. They just need something controlled, something nice, and something obviously landed. Here we go, taking off. Missing the pop, not getting the pop he wanted, but catching the hang time. Double front roll, 1 foot, and then just not sticking the landing for Joppe there. Unfortunately, I don't think that's enough for a 4.64 to advance him to first, but final trick attempt of this round 2 heat 1 coming for Leo right now. So again, Leo's last trick attempt. "18 seconds remaining." Let's see if he can disrupt the current ladder. All he needs is a 4.17, but here we go, taking off into the sky. Back roll, 1 foot. Second rotation, but unfortunately, I don't think that's going to be quite enough to push him into first or second place. He's currently sitting in 4th place. That was his last trick attempt, but we'll see what the judges have to say in the end. So Joni taking off here into a front roll, 1 foot, double 1 foot, and manages to stick it. I wonder what that's going to do to his scoring. So I've just got confirmation that it's actually 8 trick attempts in this heat. so that actually everyone has one more go at scoring another good trick. Here we can see the replay from Yoni taking off into a nice inverted front roll, 1 foot, and then takes his other front foot out and manages to just stick the landing while even rotating, which was pretty impressive. Alrighty, and Nicholas 4, there we go. Just not making the tic-tac. It was going to be a foil tic-tac. So that's unfortunately it for Nicholas and Yoni for their last tricks. Last trick attempt here from Lasse, taking off into the sky. Nice height, back roll, 1 foot. Whoa, catching a nice gust there. And let's see, he manages to ride out of it. Not going to be the highest scoring trick. But I could see at the end there, he's really praying that one of these guys, the next 2 guys, don't take it from him. Because he's currently sitting in first place. And I think he's really hoping that he advances into round 3. But here we go. Joppe van der Poel taking off into the sky. Back roll 1. He wanted to take his foot out there. Unfortunately, just managed to get a double back roll. And I don't think that's going to count as a landing. So here we go, last trick. Leo Henriksen taking off 1 foot into a board off rodeo. Is he going to stick it? And he manages to stick it. Oh my goodness, this could be an upset. Let's see a replay of that. As he took off, it looks like his foot intentionally slipped out. Then he ended up going into a full-on rodeo, into a second rotation, and manages to just get his feet in time for landing, and you can see he's really happy on that one. We'll have to see until the final scores come through there. If there's any upset, he's not needing much. He's only needing a 4.17 to advance to first place. All right, let's go and take a look at the highlights from this last heat. Nice, Joppe with a big back roll board off. This was Yoni taking off there up into the sky for that front roll board off with those extra rotations towards the end. Not super controlled, but still getting him a good score on the board. That was a 7.07. And then Nicholas 4 with his double back roll. Nice and clean. That was Lasse with his back roll board off that really got him a good score. Really setting him up in a good position with a 7.90. And then here, that big back roll tic-tac that he had as well with the hot landing. Coming in full speed, but straight onto the foil. And Joppe again with that front roll board off that he had. Nice and clean. Unfortunately, just having a look now. There's Yoni again with his front roll 1 footer. That was also very clean landing, nice and controlled. And there is Leo Henriksen with his front roll. Super nice. But now I'm just reading in the final results from that last heat. It's just coming through now. Here we go. Yoni on screen during that replay at back roll board off. Nice and clean, nice and slow, nice and controlled. Taking off. That was his one where he was just saying cheers to the crowd. I think that was his last, here's his last trick attempt. His double 1 foot front roll to a nice clean landing. Leo Henriksen, fortunately, had a good performance, especially on this last trick there with the front roll rodeo. Landed it, but unfortunately not giving him the score that he needed. We've just got the final results coming through now. And progressing into round 3 is Lasse Geisler with a total score of 17.13. Joni Sorola in second place, advancing to round 3 with a 17.04. And unfortunately, Leo Henriksen, Joppe van der Poel, and Nicholas 4 are currently now eliminated from this event. All right, round 2 of the women's division. Ola and Carolina. They're going head to head in this heat. Let's hope Ola manages to get back on the water because she unfortunately missed her last heat. Didn't manage to get out there in time that she could put in a performance for the judges. So the competition is on. It's Ola's turn. Ola is in black at the moment. And Carolina is supposed to be in blue. That looks like Carolina on the beach, still possibly trying to launch her kite, even though she's supposed to be out on the water right now. This is not looking good. We had the same situation in the last heat with Ola. Now Ola's managed to be on the water, but Carolina is not. Hopefully she's going to manage. Looks like coming through now, I'm just looking that looks like both of them are currently on the beach. So now it's basically anyone's game to get out there and get on the water. Looks like Ola is setting up another kite to get out on the water. Both of them are rushing now to get out there. You can see Carolina's kite currently in the sand, in the water, about to launch. Hopefully she gets that up in time so that she can get out there and still get a couple tricks in. You can see Juan Antonio, the race director, on the beach, measuring the wind. Looks like he's calling it. Seems that the wind has unfortunately died. As you can see there, he's constantly on the beach. There's the buzzer. Looks like the current heat has been put on pause. Waiting to hear final information from Juan Antonio, race director. He's been doing this for over 35 years in the windsurfing world and the kitesurfing world. He is very experienced and very knowledgeable when it comes to, obviously, competition, organization, as well as weather. This is basically his job, making sure that the athletes have the best and most fair conditions to be able to perform out there. And now looking out the window, it looks like there's a bit of a rain cloud coming over, so that's possibly what's starting to drop the wind that is making it unable for the athletes to launch. But on screen now, Juan Antonio, and right behind him, Robbie James, who will also be competing in the men's division. As Carolina trying to launch her kite, but just got the official information now that the heat has been abandoned. Looks like both ladies were struggling to start. Looks like the wind has almost completely died. And yeah, hopefully the wind will pack up any minute so that we can continue on with competition. All right, we're going to take a quick pause here, have a look at the conditions, see what's going to happen, and we'll update you in a couple minutes on what the wind and current situation is doing out there on the water.
from here, no. Well, if you look from here, you cannot see that tail.
No. I'm putting it like this so I can hold also the hood.
No, but my hoodman is under here, so I cannot see this one.
You don't have to see that. You just have to see this one.
Yeah, but this one, if I go down, okay. If it's like this, I don't see it. Actually, look. If you look at it now like that,
okay, like this.
You don't see it.
Okay, no, because I'm inside, so I can see them.
No.
Yeah, I understand.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand.
I think
You can tilt it a bit.
I don't know what it is. You have the screwdriver? No. Yeah, you can take me off the telly.
Yeah, we were just checking the telly.
Yeah, take me off. Because we
Also, my shutter is changed.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, just a quick update for you here. Unfortunately, it looks like the conditions are just not optimal to get back out there and continue competition. So we've currently put the competition on hold. Luckily, we've been able to manage to run 2 of the rounds, the round 1 women and round 2 men's. So that's made us move up a bit. And yeah, just keep an update. This is Willow here. Look forward to catching up with you guys a bit later on. We'll right now be on pause for further notice, but you can keep an eye on our social media channels and stay updated right there at the Defender GKA Kite-Surf World Cup here on Sylt. Looking forward to catching up later with you guys, and hopefully the competition runs underway very soon.
Steine können wir nicht aufhalten, aber bei jedem Steinschlag helfen. United Autoglas.
Yes! Alles gut bei dir? Ich habe gerade über 900 € von der Steuer zurückbekommen. Jetzt kann ich endlich nach Mallorca.
Du und Steuern?
Ja, 0, aber ich habe das mit dieser Zaster-App gemacht. Da macht der Steuerberater alles für dich. Kein Papierkram oder so. Nur kurz Name, Adresse, Steuer-ID angeben, fertig.
Über 2 Millionen Nutzer lieben Zaster. Hol dir jetzt dein Steuergeld zurück.
Für alle, die Sport fühlen.
Baby, I get to it on time. Skateboard grind, they what show sign. We can take off right now to the Astros. Heating up like a stove red, I know cold.
Hier gewinnen die Fans. Denn Live-Sport geht auch kostenlos. Das ist Join Sport. Jederzeit kostenlos streamen.